Well, welcome back, everybody. We will be going through a quick 30 minutes with Stuart and Mark on IQ4 Hub, and this will be the first part of the technical training for IQ4 Hub, and then next week we will have the second part, obviously. So let me just get these polls going quickly. Mark and Stuart have a lot to go through, so let me get this going. So 4 quick polls for you. Do you currently offer a lower cost panel solution? Simple, yes or no. All right, as expected, a very high majority of you are offering a lower cost solution. So we'll just leave this poll open for another few seconds and give everybody a chance to vote. We very much appreciate your feedback. Okay, we'll close that one off. And the second poll would be, what percentage of time do you only use a single SRF or security radio frequency on an install? Pretty simple. So only using one. So PowerG or 319 or 345 or 433. All right. Pretty even there. We got a lot of people are over 90% of the time using just one SRF, but a good, pretty well split right across the board of all four answers there. Good. Good to know. All right, we'll close that poll off. 2 more. Easy one. If you could put one feature back into an IQ4 Hub, what would it be? Would it be the panel camera, dual SRF, two-way voice, or a panel glass break? All right. Dual SRF off to the win right now. And about 7 out of 10 people think that would be great to put dual SRF back in. All right. Interesting. Two-way voice is a close second. All right, we'll close this one off. I'll just launch this last one, and then we'll pass this off to Stuart and Mark. So, there we go. Where do you see your company utilizing IQ4 Hub? You can select all that apply. So commercial, residential, builder, automation only, like an automation only play, or MDUs. All right. Residential off to a strong start. Builder market and commercial coming up behind. Automation only, wow. Just about 20–25% would love to see an automation only play for IQ4 Hub. Great feedback. All right, we'll leave that. Everybody's voted, looks like, or close to. Close it off. I'll go back on mute and go hang out and chat. Mark, Stuart, off to you.
All right. Good afternoon, everybody. Hey, I'm Stuart Brinsfield. I'm a TAM for Southeast United States. I'm here with Mark Bateman, director for the whole East Coast. So we're going to kind of tell you about this IQ4 Hub, what's different, what's the same as the IQ4, a lot of the benefits of having this panel as part of our repertoire. So just a kind of little overview of what we are, who we are. If you're not sure, we're obviously under Johnson Controls. Qolsys became part of our family, I guess it's about 2.5–3 years ago, and brought on a great slew of products to help out give us a new facelift or something fresh with the Neo. And obviously we had PowerG already as far as Johnson Controls, but it's been a very good relationship so far, and got some great stuff coming out, with one of them we're talking about today. So basically what, Qolsys product, today's world, we have to be innovative. We have to make sure that we're staying cutting edge, the features that everybody wants, the visual is a big thing with a lot of people, but ease of use and just, being able to interact with the system is really key in today's world.
And I think what's kind of cool is the way that, as you were saying, products collide. We have the IQ panel and PowerG. That's been, for a lot of you guys out there, that's been the strength, great panel and a great sensor technology with PowerG when you need to use it. But just looking at the past and the innovation that's happened with the IQ panel line, we started with Gen 1 back in 2014, and you can just see what we've come out with in 2021, and we came out with the IQ Hub. That was the Gen 1 hub, and then 2020 we also came out with the IQ Panel 4. Just keeping up with technologies and the radios and all that kind of stuff. Updating the Android. And in 2022 now we are launching the IQ4 Hub. And last week we did an overview on it. Kevin did for us. And this week is our first training. On the IQ4 Hub. We will do a brief overview and then get into some of the programming, and then next week we'll follow up with the second part of that. But always innovating, and this is a great, low cost solution that can, go in, that pairs very well with the standard IQ4 panel.
So as things develop, this is really the IQ4 Hub is obviously a lower cost device, but obviously we have a lot more. Okay, so the IQ4, the all-in-one, which is the big brother of this panel, if you want to say, has a little bit more features in it. But again, that's just a stepping stone to the new IQ Pro, which just soft launched this last week, and that's going to go all the way into an IQ or commercial Fire at the end of all this. So as you can see, just looking at this, single platform, but we want to be able to have anything you might possibly need in any installation that you come across. So something as simple as that IQ4 Hub, where I need a single frequency, I need just simple features, or maybe it's automation only. You have that. If you need more, you go to the IQ4 panel. And then once we get to the larger commercial or larger residential, we have the IQ Pro plastic, all the way up to the commercial metal. And then, of course, the Fire is the last one. So a lot of great things. But the thing is, keep it simple, keep it familiar, and just keep growing.
And to be clear, the IQ Fire, that's future, that's to come. And but the lower cost IQ4 Hub, that's where we're at now. And the whole point of this is one platform. So we have that same Qualcomm chipset for the whole platform, the system on a module, and that allows us that it's just one software. We come, instead of having a software for the IQ2, the IQ3, the IQ4, it's one software for all those panels. Really helps with the supply chain, helps with us just getting to market with the panel and making the the improvements we need to.
Now with the IQ4 Hub, if you've done the IQ4, you know that we had the dual SRF. Okay, so now with the IQ4 Hub, we're still going to offer that single frequency, legacy frequency, as far as the 319, the 433, and the 345s. We're going to offer those, but they're going to be by themselves. So if you have that situation where you're going to upgrade a panel and that's all they have, that's all they're going to have, this is a less expensive way to give the customer exactly what they need, but still give them all the interactive and automations that they may want to add. Okay, so keep it simple, one frequency in each box. So we have a PowerG, a 319, a 433, and a 345. So you'll be able to choose which frequency you want. And that's kind of important if you're looking at this in the IQ4. We want to make sure today that you're getting the right panel and getting exactly what you need for each install.
Yeah, so right here, it's us just making this, like we said, a low-cost solution, more affordable. Instead of having PowerG in every panel and then one of the legacy frequencies, it's just, pick the security radio frequency that you're going to need.
So let's go into the features real quick of the IQ Hub, so you know what's part of this as opposed to what's not part of it that's on the IQ4. So basically, the look is pretty much the same. Okay, we have the same screen. We have a little bit different speakers on the bottom. It's a plastic cover instead of the cloth, but it still has the same Qualcomm system on a module, 8-core processor. It's still dual communication with the LTE and the Wi-Fi. Bluetooth is obviously enabled, but the biggest thing is, again, single RF, PowerG, or any of the other frequencies, the Qolsys, the Honeywell, or the DSC. Still has the Z-Wave 800 built into the system, so you can still do all your Z-Wave devices just as normal. and it has one expansion slot that you could choose, whether it might be that second frequency, like Neil asked the question earlier. If you need a dual frequency, you can put that card in there, or the ability now to do Zigbee along with your Z-Wave. So another option to expand it if you want to, but leave it out for now and let you choose to have that. Okay. So some of the things that were taken out, of course, one of the main things, one of the most visible things is the front panel camera has been removed. So that does take away your disarm feature, photos with disarm, but it also, again, allows for less cost. You have one microphone for live answer as far as the ADC, which will be coming later on, and then you have one speaker, one siren. Okay, instead of two LEDs, you have one on the front, so you can still see the status of the system from the front. And like I mentioned, just a little bit difference in the actual grill itself. Okay, go ahead, Mark.
So yeah, just to be clear here, so the things we're removing is going from dual SRF to one, and removing the panel camera, so you lose your disarm photos, your alarm videos. There's an ambient light sensor. Most people won't notice the difference, and then a two-way voice. So removing two-way voice. So
yeah. What is the same is the software. So you're not going to have the special software just for the IQ Hub. It's still going to be the same as you have on the 4. Okay, so you have the 411 software, which has been out a few months, plus the newer 4.2 enhancements. Okay, so a lot of the biggest things with that, if you've used the IQ4, is you can now do partitions without a screen lock, so you don't have to force that on a customer. We've always had the legacy frequency test, signal strength test. Now we have a PowerG sensor test on there also. So now you can test, even the PowerG sensors on there. Power down notifications. The disarm photos aren't there, aren't there now, but you have the Z-Wave 800 support. A lot of we're going to go over a little bit today and more next week is the system health checks that you can use. Improved solar data. Solar is getting much bigger and much more part of our lives, so we're going to be able to supply you with more data on that. And then the ability to dim that LED. If it's in a bedroom or something, you'll be able to turn that down so it's not as bright as it used to be. Coming soon, which is great to hear for a lot of people. The 4.3 is the IQ Remote PowerG support. It's one thing that a lot of people are waiting a long time is to have that PowerG remote. So we're going to have the IQ remote that actually communicates over PowerG and Wi-Fi. So a little added feature on that. Okay. Photo frame remote uploads. You'll be able to change your pictures and things like that. Your commercial billboard, if you're doing this and you want to advertise your company on the actual panel itself. And then alarm.com with the prox tag management. You're going to be able to add that to the system also. More, automation rules. So we're going to add Zigbee to the panel. So you're going to have more options on that. And then a little bit better of a Bluetooth scanner. So we'll be able to find your Bluetooth devices a little easier.
And with the Bluetooth scanner, my understanding that is you'll actually be able to tell how many people are within range of the panel. So, let's say you had a rental unit or something and they had 100 people over there, or your kids had a party and you're out of town, be able to tell how many Bluetooth devices are within range. One thing I probably should have taken out of this that, being the IQ4 Hub is, extract, disarm photos and alarm videos. That's not going to be, on this panel. That's more for the IQ4, but it is in that software stack, for the standard IQ4 panel. As far as the UI, it's that same UI, very clean UI. I've loved this. I always felt like, I've said, hey, I can give my kid my iPad or my iPhone and he's able to just make his way through it. We're sticking with the exact same UI that we've had for your lights, locks, thermostats, your garage door. Very clean, very easy to use. So it's the same UI, it's the same, pretty much the same panel. We've just taken some stuff out to make it a lower cost. And as always, if you're new to the IQ lineup, we've kind of tried to design this so it's going to be the same customer experience. whether they're using the panel itself or they're going to alarm.com to use their mobile app, or going to the website using their smartwatch. It's going to have that same kind of feel. It's not going to feel like, man, my panel is totally foreign from my the apps I use and from alarm.com. So we've worked really hard with alarm.com. We have 2 meetings, one every Monday and Wednesday with them for the past I think 7 years or so, or 8 years, getting in sync with our software and innovating together and kind of just designing that customer experience. We also have, this is all in one. So on that SOM, that Qualcomm chipset, we've got the LTE radio, the Wi-Fi, there's an access point on there. We've got the Bluetooth low energy for, Bluetooth disarming in the away mode. And then you have, your radio frequencies, PowerG, that's been the, kind of the premium security radio frequency. And with this panel, it's pick one, pick PowerG, 319, 345, or 433. And then we still have Z-Wave with the 800 series radio in this panel.
So just to kind of go over, I mean, one of our biggest things we've ever run into was obviously range on our transmitters. So where PowerG differs from every other frequency out there is the range. Okay, so that's the biggest thing, is range. So where legacy frequencies are about 1,000 feet, PowerG is 1.25 miles open air. Okay, but along with that range, we also have other features of PowerG which you may not be aware of. Is besides it being long range, it's encrypted, 128-bit AES encryption. Okay, so with that, it also, it cuts down the fact that you're going to get, jammed or have interference, come into play. So it's much more secure. Besides just being, encrypted, it also does what's called frequency hopping. So it doesn't stay at the same, everybody says 900 megahertz. It doesn't stay at 900 megahertz. It's 912 to 919. It has 50 channels inside that it's constantly jumping around. So it's kind of hard to jam or catch or anyway, jam this frequency at any time. So with that, it just makes, that's where the long range comes in and the encryption. And on top of that, with that long range and that communication between, we have adaptive power management. So a sensor 10 feet away is not going to use as much power as one 1,000 feet away. So adaptive power saves battery life, saves trips. Nobody likes to change out batteries in the wireless. So if we can cut down a year or 2 years of that, that allow you to do that with that adaptive power management. Okay, low latency. Okay, UL commercial. Berg, so we never thought before we could use wireless in a commercial environment. This is almost as good as running a wire to every single device. So very much used for that, and so you can do up to 8 repeaters. Okay, so you have that 1.25 miles, and then you can add to that with the repeaters and just make sure your whole network is nice and clean. Okay, so the other thing, older systems, even with the single frequency, if we're going in and we're upgrading a system, a lot of those systems have hardwire. We got to have options for that. Okay, so with the 319 variant of this IQ Hub, is we have the 16F hardwire translator. Now that each one of those takes 16 zones or 15 zones in the 2-wire smoke zone and converts that hardwire to that 319 frequency and communicates back to the panel. So you can install that device down where your wiring is and have it communicate up to that IQ Hub wherever it might be located in the house. Okay, so with that, we also have a PowerG version, and now this is probably one of the most exciting pieces I think we've come out with in a long time. Being able to do on an IQ Hub up to 80 zones hardwire with PowerG communication, so we get that range and that encryption on these PowerG devices. It also allows us to use Neo zone expanders to expand these different modules. And a lot of times we have places where there's a lot of keypads. You can add up to 2 keypads per one of these units, and you can do 2 of these units on a system. So you can do up to 4 hardwire keypads plus 80 zones of hardwire PowerG.
It's pretty impressive.
All right, so besides our hardwire we just talked about, we also have secondary keypads. So just like on the IQ4 and the IQ2 Plus, you can do 3 of the IQ remotes, which are operated over Wi-Fi, and then 5 PowerG rubber button keypads. If that's all they need is something to arm and disarm or status, that'll give them a good option to add those keypads in places maybe they had them before. So you can do up to 8 additional keypads besides the main control on the system.
And then also on top of that, we're getting very close to launching our IQ Remote PowerG. So once again, if you're using that PowerG panel, that variant of the IQ Hub, we're working on that also. That'll be released pretty soon. And then Bluetooth touchless disarming. This has been a really big since the early days of the IQ panel, but it's just, hey, leave your phone in your pocket. This day it's like a lot of people are able to walk up to their vehicle, notices their key in their pocket. They can just walk in and push it, starts the vehicle. Leave your phone in your pocket is, hey, my panel's been armed in the away mode. So I've left for the day. When I come back, it recognizes me. It has about a 30-foot range and it automatically disarms. And with that, you could add in rules like, hey, unlock the door, turn on lights, whatever your customer you see that would be valuable. So really cool feature. I love this, especially with, I have my wife and kids. I think for her, it's very convenient. She's coming home with 3 little kids, maybe coming home from the grocery store. It just automatically, unlocks the house and disarms the system without her having to worry about, running in and disarming it when her hands are full. So kind of a nice feature here, a great sales feature. And with that, it pairs very well with Alarm.com's geofence. So the geofence, that's, hey, it's using your cell radio to say, hey, I've left my house. I've left that geofence I created, which is a half-mile radius from your panel. So a mile circle is normally how you lay it down. And it's great when all the phones have left that geofence. It could be, hey, if I forgot to arm my system, I get a reminder, hey, would you like to arm your system? It reminds me to arm my system, especially if you're new, if you have a customer that's new to having a system, helps them get engaged with using it. And then when they come home, it has that touchless, disarming when they return. And it's a pretty awesome feature. And with that, just to be clear, if you're new, you can use up to 5 smartphones with the Bluetooth disarming. So. And then on top of that, we have the live view and the live answer. To clarify, the live answer is going to be fully supported in 4.3 software, but live view and live answer. So this is just being able to view your cameras from the panel, your Alarm.com cameras. So once again, your live answer with the microphone and all that, this will be supported in 4.3 software. We did reserve 1 microphone still for this low-cost solution. And I love live answer. I use it all the time in my own house. Somebody rings the doorbell, I can just go over to the panel, see who's out there, or I can, still always use my phone, especially when I'm on the road. And then you have live view. There's no audio with this on the panel, but it's being able to see your cameras, who's upstairs, downstairs, out in the backyard, whatever it might be. And then we still also support live view on the remotes. So once again, that's video only, no audio.
All right, so besides all that, we also have the panel access point. We're just going to go this really quickly. This is not meant for use, as a customer's network, but if you have a device, say a doorbell or a secondary remote or a camera that may be closer to the panel than it is to the router, it's a good way to kind of help it out getting to that point. So instead of going all the way back to the router, you attach it to the built-in access point on the panel itself. Okay, so with that, you just activate that access point and it turns it into basically a hotspot to connect your anything that might be close. But just for a few devices, it's not made for a whole network. We have another device for that.
Yeah, and this is a perfect solution when you got that doorbell, right outside the front door, and then the panel's right inside. That's a perfect connection to get inside the house and then have the panel go over to the main router.
So just like on the IQ4, we have the simultaneous LTE and Wi-Fi. Just real quick, what that means is if they both send a signal at the same time, and the first one that gets to alarm.com basically wins, and that's the signal that's forwarded to your central station. So not waiting for the other one to finish. Languages. If you have an option to do, need to do different languages, we have 17 different languages that you can place on this panel. Partitions, we still have the partitions with global arming is right there at your fingertips. So as long as you've got a global code, you can do the global arming and disarming from your different partitions. And now just an added feature, Bluetooth is added to it. Home control page. This is nice if you just have a few devices, or maybe it's an automation system and not a security system, but the first learn device on each different category, you can have a page that brings those most used lights up to the forefront. Yep,
and like I said, perfect for MDU.
Wellness page. If you have elderly that are using it, it's still a part of this IQ hub to add a different feature for elderly to do check-ins and just keep an eye on them.
And just for those that are unfamiliar with this does allow you to turn off the security page. So if there's no security on the panel, it's just a wellness solution. You can have this just be that main page, and same with the automation.
Just some scene options that you can set up scenes and just do a one button activation from the actual panel itself.
Yep, and those are set up on alarm.com, but it's nice that we've added this. You go into dealer or dealer settings or install settings, then you can turn on the scenes, so they'll appear in that bottom left-hand corner. But a lot of people do love using scenes.
All right, if you've done the IQ4, we got the same easy install wizard. That's it comes up as soon as you power it up, which makes it nice and easy, consistent, and it's almost like having a checklist when you're doing the system. It walks you through every step. We're going to do that here in just a second.
Yeah,
sensor test. So go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, and then we still have our sensor test. The advanced sensor test. Powerful Z-Wave diagnostics that will actually get into this next week in the second half of this training. I know we're short on time here with just a couple minutes left, so we'll try to buzz through this last part. Might go a couple minutes over, but this we'll touch on the system health stuff next week. But some really cool things, powerful tests that we've added to the panel to allow you to kind of see the unseen. And I feel like it makes a technician kind of that security expert when he's dealing with all these tests that allow you to see the unseen.
Yeah. And one thing that we've just added, I mean, it's a exciting piece of equipment that we've come out, the IQ Wi-Fi 6. This is really what makes this different than any other network you might be using. Is just to put it on our thing, it's got a separate security network, so you can add this to whether you're doing an IQ4 or not. You can add this to a house, but with the IQ4, it allows you to manage and see everything that's going on in this customer's network. But the really nice thing is it has a separate security network that you'll add all your devices, so that the customer can't go in there, even if they change the password, cannot get to your devices. So the biggest thing with that is the security and being able to protect your devices that you have on the network. And as you can see on this page, it's going to have a panel integration page. So you're going to be able to see what's on your network, test speeds, add people to your guest network. You have people come over and say, hey, I went on your network. They can scan that barcode and get on your guest network and not any of your other protected networks.
And
this is what it looks like on alarm. Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, I was going to say, yeah, what's nice, you got panel integration, you got alarm.com integration for both, you as a dealer, so you can go in and see what's happening as the dealer, or even as the end user. So end user integration for them. So really cool purpose-built system that works with our IQ4 Hub and IQ4 panel. So really awesome. It's available now. We just did our workshops on that the last month. We've kind of ran out of time here, guys. So I think what we're going to do is next week we're going to pick up with the hardware, the software of the panel, and then we'll get into the deeper, additional programming of the panel, including, a review of that wizard. So I do know these workshops are short, and I hope this helped give you, more of an idea of, what the IQ4 Hub is, where you can use it as that low cost solution, where, for those that say, hey, I'm already using a low cost solution. If this isn't the panel you're using, now you can say, hey, I could just, stick with the IQ4 panel that has the dual SRF, and I can have the IQ4 Hub and kind of just go with that single SRF to kind of save some money, or if you're doing, MDU or, different solutions like that. But all right, but hey, we want to thank everybody for jumping on. Hey, Neil, did we have any questions that came up that need to be answered?
No, everything is good. Lots of good feedback, lots of good questions, but yeah, nothing too specific. So we will see everybody next week. And as a reminder, there is a quick survey afterwards if you are willing to take it for us. Give us some feedback, what you liked, what you didn't like, and what you'd love to see for future sessions. We are planning some future seasons, so that feedback of what you would like to see going down the road is very, very valuable. Hope everybody stays safe and has a great weekend.
Yeah, thank you guys. We'll see you next week.
Take care.
And it's not closing. Here, hold on. Technical difficulty. There we go.
Technical difficulties.